Once upon a time, in the humble village of Maram, there lived an orphan boy named Rouna Tyou. His very name, Orphan Boy, seemed to carry the weight of his lonely existence. His thin, bony frame and unremarkable appearance made him the subject of mockery, and the villagers barely acknowledged his presence. His only purpose was to tend to their cows, an unimportant task in their eyes. One evening, as he walked home from the grazing fields, a strange, unfamiliar feeling stirred deep within him. It was a yearning he couldn't explain, something new and overwhelming. In the midst of this strange sensation, he unintentionally spilled his seed onto a fruit called lassi, one that he had casually plucked along his path. Without thinking, he left the fruit resting on a stone slab beside the road and continued his journey home, unaware that his actions would soon change the course of his life. Later that day, a beautiful young woman named Rone arrived at the stone park to rest. She saw the fruit and, thinking it would be a treat for her niece and nephews, tucked it into her waistband and continued on her way, unaware of the significance it held. Months passed, and to Rona's shock, she discovered she was pregnant. She was bewildered, ashamed, and confused, for she had never been with a man. How could this have happened? The village buzzed with whispers of suspicion, their eyes filled with judgment. Despite her innocence, Rona became the center of scandal, and no one could understand the mystery of the child she carried. When her son was born, the village was thrown into chaos. Every young man in the village clamored to claim him as their own, each one eager to be seen as the father. But Rona, standing firm in her truth, denied them all. The elders and the sorcerers of the village, determined to uncover the truth, devised a test. They called forth every man who had pursued Rona and lined them up before the child. One by one, each man knelt and offered his back for the boy to climb. But the child refused them all, turning away from each of them, as if searching for something or someone. Finally, only one man remained, the orphan boy, Rouna Tyou. Humiliated and bewildered, he protested, "How could I be his father? I am nothing, I am no one." But the villagers insisted, pressing him forward. Reluctantly, he approached the child who had been waiting for him. As he bent down, the boy's eyes sparkled with recognition, and he eagerly clambered onto Rouna Tyou's back, as though he had found his home. The crowd fell silent, and in that moment, the truth was revealed. Rouna Tyou was the boy's father. The villagers, bound by their traditions, demanded that Rouna Tyou and Rone marry at once, their fates forever intertwined. But even in marriage, Rouna Tyou found no happiness. Rone, still full of bitterness and scorn, treated him as little more than a servant. She served him his meals on the ground, as though he were no more than an animal. He bore it all in silence, his heart heavy with pain, but he said nothing, knowing that he had no place to turn. One day, seeking a small comfort, Rouna Tyou went to his father-in-law and asked for a hunting dog. In return, he was given a small, unattractive creature, much like himself. Yet despite the dog's ugliness, Rouna Tyou loved it with all his heart, and together they ventured into the jungle in search of game. While hunting, the dog chased a beast into a cave and vanished inside. Rouna Tyou waited for what felt like an eternity at the entrance, his heart racing with worry. When the dog finally emerged, it was no longer the ugly small creature he had known. The dog had been transformed into a magnificent, breathtaking creature of beauty. With newfound hope, Rouna Tyou dipped his feet into the cave. As he pulled them back, they were no longer bony and worn, but perfect, radiant, and strong. Encouraged, he placed his hands into the cave, and when he withdrew them, they too were stunning, flawless in their beauty. Finally, he stepped fully into the cave, his heart pounding with anticipation. When he emerged, he was no longer the orphan boy the villagers had mocked. He was a man of astonishing beauty, a transformation that left him unrecognizable. At home, his son's innocent voice rang out, full of joy and wonder. "My beautiful father is coming. My beautiful father is coming." But Rona, irritated by the words, scolded the boy. "What nonsense! Your father is ugly. How dare you say such things?" She snapped, not yet realizing the truth. Moments later, a strikingly handsome man entered the house, accompanied by the magnificent dog. Rone, assuming he was a stranger, tried to chase him away. But the boy, his face alight with recognition, ran into the man's arms, exclaiming, My beautiful father! In that instant, everything changed. Rona's eyes widened in shock and disbelief. She looked at the man who had once been the scorned orphan, the one she had mistreated and rejected. And now in his transformation, she saw not only his outward beauty, but the heart that had always been pure, full of love, and patient despite her cruelty. A wave of regret washed over her. She realized, too late, the man she had ignored, the man she had belittled, was someone truly extraordinary. From that moment forward, Rona treated him with the love and respect he had always deserved. She served him with warmth, spoke to him kindly, and treasured him as she should have all along. And so, Rouna Tyou, once an outcast, and Rona, the proud village beauty, found happiness at last. Their lives, forever touched by fate's mysterious hand, were blessed with love and understanding. Together they discovered that true beauty comes not from the outside, but from the heart, and that even the most unlikely of beginnings can lead to the most beautiful of endings.